Nicola Tallant, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
To Under
Thank
the
you
Grill.
so much.
It's great to have you.
Never been here before.
No? It's great to have you. So thanks
Thank
so
you
much
very
for doing
much.
this.
Yeah.
We asked you to choose a dish from your childhood.
Yeah.
And you chose midweek roast chicken.
I know that's so boring, is it? But I just
No.
think roast chicken is
My
just the
dead roll
ultimate,
meal.
isn't it?
This is it for me.
Yeah. Roast
Like,
chicken.
yeah,
is-
so
Look at this.
we just made little something for us.
Oh my goodness,
the
look at
carrots
that.
and the spuds
Yeah,
are
I mean,
beautiful.
Shocking,
that's
isn't it?
absolutely gorgeous. But there is something so comforting about roast chicken, isn't
Isn't
there?
there?
The smell of it,
Yeah, exactly.
everything. And then the leftovers and
And you were
Yeah,
saying
really.
that your dad used to make it.
oh yeah. And actually, in particular, I think he used to make it at the weekend as well. And then sometimes, do you remember people make grilled chicken with, for some reason, Irish people, let's say only, with grilled banana or grilled
Would you
pineapple?
stop it?
Do you remember that?
That's Chicken Maryland.
Oh,
Yes.
is it?
Yeah, so it's a banana fritter
Oh, is
and
it?
peach
Yeah.
that goes with it. Yeah, but you're right.
That was-
and that goes right back to the 80s, probably
That
70s.
was the 80s, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Well, first of all, we use a cornfed chicken. So there's actually a unique flavour off it, which is really, really nice. And then we stuffed it. But look at the way we put the paper in. So
I'm just.
the way you can just pull that out.
Yeah.
So if you get like parchment paper and put your fist in it and then stuff it in, makes a pouch and then put your stuffing into that. So it means it's so easy just to take it out to serve. So
And are the
pull out.
flavours still going up through?
Flavors are still happening,
Brilliant.
and look how juicy that chicken
Yeah.
is. So you start making the gravy from the minute you take the pan out to put the chicken in. So I put onions and carrots on the bottom of the pan.
Yes.
Then set the chicken on top of it. That's cooking. So already all the juices are going down into the bottom of the pan.
Oh, yummy, yeah.
Take your chicken out, while that rests for about 15 minutes. Strain off the excess fat. Then just a little bit of flour, like dust the bottom of the pan with flour so it takes up any excess grease. Red wine and water. And just bring that up to boil. A little bit of salt and pepper. Strain it. And you get that beautiful stew. What's your favorite meal of all times?
My favourite meal.
Time and place. Like where were you?
Oh
What
God.
was it? It's a tough one, isn't it?
That's a really tough one, yeah. I have to say, when you talk about food, I always think about south of France, sitting up on at a homemade meal, not a restaurant,
Yeah, perfect.
with friends and family, and sitting up overlooking the Côte d'Azur and the lights twinkling out in Saint-Tropez,
Yeah.
and the food just tasting different to everything, even the salad dressing, the Dijon and the oil and the tomatoes and,
And you think that was because of the atmosphere as well?
well, probably a bit of that too, but I just think the food those beef tomatoes, you just literally slice them and they're delicious. Bit of olive oil on them. Just cooking barbecue on the merguez sausages and,
Oh yeah.
everything.
Like if you take the tomatoes, I think a lot to do is like the tomatoes are amazing and because it's during the summer. But when you slice them, the tomatoes are kept at room temperature.
Yeah.
So they're warm. So they just ooze flavour
That's it.
and aroma. You can actually just pick one up and eat it like an apple.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
very good.
yeah, it's really
But
good.
I
So
sort
we-
of, when you have them, then I come home and I try and find them, and they do have them in vegetable shops if you look for them properly.
Yeah.
The beef tomatoes and then the different colours. I'm sure you know what
The
those ones are.
heritage ones, the heritage
ones.
tomatoes, yeah.
Yeah. And actually, if
They grow very well here in Ireland.
they're really, really young.
Yeah.
But you tend to sort of, on a normal basis, I don't know, you go to the supermarket and you just find things that aren't those. And
So tell us, Nicola,
yeah.
the monk.
Who?
Was he the monk?
I'm joking.
Who's he?
Was he the biggest ever episode of Crime World so far? Yeah. And-
Absolutely mega, yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
He's such a star, isn't he?
Oh, he's such a, there's like comedy sketches about him now and everything. But
He
yeah,
does have a very funny
he does
voice
have
and
a,
everything.
he
His voice
does,
is
yeah, you
so
sort of get a
funny.
shock when he speaks.
Yeah.
But he does have some sort of a quality, like for a criminal, in fairness, he does have some sort of a star quality.
Yeah.
Biggest podcast, I think, ever recorded, broadcast in Ireland.
Yes,
Ever.
imagine.
And actually, if you look at the figures properly,
Yeah.
they're up there with the Joe Rogans. I mean, it's off the scale.
Imagine.
I mean,
Right.
on YouTube alone, before we hit the audio figures, there's about 1.4 million.
My goodness.
So then you'll double that with your audio. Like, I mean, it's for one episode,
insane.
mental.
But it was something you'd watch on YouTube, wasn't it?
Yeah, lots of people watched it on YouTube because they wanted to see him.
Yeah.
And then,
Was this when he was in the airport or something? Was it? Or?
No, this was when he came in to do the podcast interview.
Oh, yeah, she came
So
in.
because I doorstepped him at the airport and I asked him would he come in, and he said to me, basically, he didn't say I'd think about it, but he said, he'd consider it.
You consider
And I was
and is
like-
that because he was running for...
He was running for election. But I always reckon if you say, I'll think about it,
Yeah, you're in.
you're in, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I went off, skipping off, thinking he's definitely...
We have him.
We have him. Fingers crossed. So there was very little preparation for it, though. He decided to come in, and it was a case of bring him up through the basement in the dead of night rather than the middle of the day. And it was a working office.
Of course.
And there's a lot of sort of health and safety concerns about everything. So we decided we just would ask for forgiveness afterwards.
Oh, yeah, no, it's the only way to do it.
Only way to do it. Yeah, story of my life. But the day before, when he sort of decided he was going to do it, we decided we'd meet him for dinner, just to have a quick chat and try and work out some parameters around it.
Yes.
Well,
The monk's kitchen.
I brought him deep south side.
Did you?
Yeah, because I reckoned he wasn't going to be totally recognised,
Yeah.
So he came out on his bike and sat down. We were in a establishment not a million miles from where we are, and
I know, because I think he went to my local afterwards.
Oh, we probably could have. Yeah,
Because they were talking about the monk being in the local, my local.
really.
But I didn't know there's any connection.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So it could well have been. It's such a small world. But like I kind of thought that he was quite sophisticated enough in his tastes compared. Now the menu wasn't exactly Michelin star, this place, but I think he wasn't going, I mean, there was no coddle or any of this sort of stuff. You think he's such a traditional dub, don't you?
Yeah.
Or he'd go for the Irish stew. He actually went for a halloumi burger, if you don't mind.
What?
Did he?
Yes, a halloumi burger.
Where did you
with
get that taste
sweet
from?
potato,
From prison?
Sweet potato fries. I'd say he's better taste than you and I. He's floating around the Mediterranean and he's probably
Class.
eating very nicely. So yeah, he had his halloumi burger. And I do
Were
believe...
you shocked?
By his halloumi or by him in general? No, I wasn't shocked because I know that he's sort of not he's a sophisticated enough taste. Like he takes his eggs Benedict.
Oh, right.
Now he does I did meet him in town over the course of the general election, and he was tucking into a good old fashioned Irish breakfast at lunchtime.
Lovely.
With the 2 slices of sliced pan toasted.
A slide of chips on the side of it. Yeah.
Sliced pan.
Put the butter on it, and then he put a sausage in between, and I mean
butter,
that is
the butter dripping out of the bread.
Like there is something about that airport style.
Yeah.
But
That's
so
hilarious.
halloumi. See, a lot of these guys have actually got not necessarily maybe the monk, but some of these sort of guys are living a lifestyle that like we can only
Dream of. Yeah.
So they actually, get
surrounded
used
by
to
this,
very
yeah.
sophisticated.
Yeah.
They're told what they should be
Eating,
liking, what they shouldn't be. And also, there's a kind of people always ask me, what are criminals like?
Yeah.
What are they like? And I go, well, what's a human being like? We're all different.
Yeah.
They're all different. Some of them eat McDonald's. Some of them eat, the best of the best, oysters, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but that's him. Yeah, he had
his
a
halloumi burger.
Yeah.
And when you brought
What
him
did you have?
I think I had chicken wings, embarrassingly. Something really, I was like in a bit of a flap, didn't really want to eat. Actually, chicken wings isn't a good thing to eat in front of someone you don't really know, is
It's like
it?
spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah, it's very amateur. Very amateur. I should have gone for something much more easy to eat, yeah. It's
And
not
did
sort
you
of-
find, did people notice him? Did they know him?
No, not where we were. Like they
Isn't that
didn't.
great?
Yeah, that was. But now,
For him as well.
I think,
They
funny enough,
noticed him
Since
where-
then,
They
I
noticed
think
him in my
then-
local.
it's funny enough, a couple of weeks later, they would have exactly known him.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay, yeah, because
indeed.
the
Yeah.
media had him at that stage.
Because he was going for election, he was all over the place,
Yeah.
and but he is quite distinguished looking. He's
Yes, with his
unusual
great,
looking.
His great salt and pepper hair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's very
absolutely.
kind of
Shaved his beard.
sharky eyes, and he shaved the beard off. I mean, the day he came out of prison, he looked like something from Castaway.
He did, didn't he?
It just added to the whole drama of everything.
Yes.
when he walked free that day. But yeah, he has differing styles, and I don't think he's worn the beard since then. But he's definitely an interesting character. Well, I often think like that, say, for example, if you have been visited by some sort of a crime or somebody around you has been, look, let's, be brutal here. Imagine somebody you knew was murdered.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Or some sort of a trauma happened to you like
I need
that.
some more wine.
Crime. You'd get it. You'd be able to drink wine, perhaps, but you wouldn't be able to eat. Do you not just lose your appetite when something, when you're really stressed or some shock?
I fully don't.
Do you not? Oh my God.
Yeah, my mum doesn't either.
He's capable of anything.
No, but my mum doesn't
And your mother
either.
doesn't either.
No,
Isn't
it's
that
like,
amazing?
and even if mum is like ill,
Yeah.
like her appetite never goes away.
Really?
So if mum loses her appetite, I'd be very worried.
Really?
'Cause
Yeah.
Nothing phases her about food.
Yeah.
Everything phases her, but not food. She'll still eat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you remember way back now, but a guy called Joe O'Reilly went on the Late Late Show to appeal for help after his wife Rachel had been brutally killed. Do you remember Rachel O'Reilly? She'd been killed out in the Knoll. Middle of the day, she dropped the kids to school and she'd gone back to the house, and her mother had actually come in and found her, literally beaten to death. The scenes are, unthinkable, really. And her mother would later describe this in court and just the shock. She seemed to go into complete, survival mode just to try and even physically get herself to the phone to ring an ambulance. But in the days or weeks after that, they went on the Late Late Show to appeal for help. And Joe O'Reilly, who was her husband, was sat there and he was, sitting beside Rose Callally, her mother, and he was begging anybody with information to come forward. No idea who had ever killed his wife, that she'd done no harm to anybody, etc., etc. But behind the scenes, and we found out later, in the green room at the Late Late Show, where they lay on, food and drink and all the rest of it, he had literally, gone at the tray of sandwiches and stuffed himself.
Eating rings around him. Before he goes on the television. Rose Callally and anybody else who's there couldn't even look at food. When I do the shows and stuff like that, we'll always sit down and have something to eat beforehand to calm ourselves down. Yeah.
But that's probably the only time that I won't eat my full plate of food, because I'm just always sort of like, you don't want to be full or tired. A plate of dinner makes me just want to go sleepy. But you play with it. But an unusual thing to do when you're facing something, or you've done something, or you're facing some imminent.
But do you not find that food, for example, is like when you're out for dinner with a monk or other people?
Yeah.
When you sit down for dinner, it kind of takes all the boundaries away.
Yeah.
And people get more relaxed, and the more they eat, the more relaxed they become.
Yeah.
And becomes more the norm. You must get more information out of them that way, do you?
Well, funny enough, I actually think breaking bread, as we'd call it, isn't it, is a way of showing your respect for somebody. Yeah. Because you're giving and you're giving them the time, and you want to eat with them and stuff like that. I always think it's a great way of building a relationship to eat with people. Yeah. If you're meeting with somebody and you've even provided, I've often gone places I'm not hungry, but somebody's providing, so I'll eat it.
Of course you will.
Just
be rude not
to. I've been in many's a place as well that the biscuits have been brought in for me, and they'll have brought in the nice biscuits, the Kimberley with the chocolate round them. And I might be going, counting every calorie, Typically it's usually when you're trying not to eat sweets, and some male one will say to me, bought you the fancy biscuits. So you go, would you like one? And you're kind of going, right, okay, I'll have 5. Yeah, thank you. This is so nice. Yeah, no, I'm a bit that way. But I do think having a meal with somebody, it breaks down all boundaries, doesn't it? And it gives you something to talk about as well, if you have nothing to talk about, or if there's an awkward moment.
Yeah, totally.
Were you ever nervous about meeting someone? Do you ever feel scared?
Well, funny enough,
properly scared.
It took me a while to realise this. But, I would always kind of think, oh God, I'm a bit nervous. And is anybody, what is this about? What are they meeting me for? And all the rest of it. But then kind of as you start meeting people who shouldn't really be meeting you, you realise they're more scared. They have a lot more to lose.
But they do, actually, in fairness.
They do. They've way more to lose. Like, I'm not going to be, anybody who sees me meeting somebody will just go, she's actually just doing her job, you know? And I'm not probably going to have anything happen to me.
Yeah.
But they're seen meeting me, they're seen as a rat. Or if it's not sanctioned, they could get themselves into big trouble.
But it might be sanctioned, but the person that's actually seeing them doesn't know it's sanctioned.
But they just don't want to be seen with you, like, you know? And they'll go out of their way to try and you see, you can't go somewhere too deep into the wilderness to meet somebody because you do have to look after yourself.
Yeah.
The higher up they are, usually in the pecking order, the safest place to meet is airside and airports, you know, where you fly.
Yeah.
Because both have to come through security.
Oh.
So nobody can bring, not that I'd be bringing a gun, but nobody could bring a gun anyway. Really secure to meet somebody in an airport. If you're ever stuck, Kevin.
I'll bear that in mind.
Because airports as well are very transient. Nobody's really looking at you.
Yeah.
You can sit for a period of time without anybody questioning what it is you're doing because you're obviously waiting for a flight, aren't you? So, yeah, it's a good place to meet somebody.
But you started out in journalism.
Exactly.
You never thought that podcast life and TV world was part of what you started out to do.
Not at all.
It wasn't part of your journey.
Not at all. It was not. I mean, the biggest thing I was ever going to give was my name. And actually, even when, you know, the byline, did any of the public ever read about it? We thought they did. But my name was quite unusual, you know, and even that, I used to feel a little bit exposed with that because there wasn't thousands of Nicola Tallants or whatever, particularly the second name was just that little bit unusual. So yeah, I used to feel exposed and uncomfortable if people used to say, I saw such and such you wrote, or I don't know who that person was, because now it's like, you know.
Now they can actually put a face to the name though.
Just evolved. It certainly wasn't a plan. It did evolve. And then, you know, I would have initially, when I started doing TV and stuff, like it was all work-wise. So you see, I do work stuff. Like I actually do, you know, crime investigation. That's really all I'm worth doing or talking about. And then sort of all as this starts to evolve, people want to talk about me. I have nothing of any interest to tell anyone.
Oh, you've loads.
Oh, I do not. I am seriously boring. I like roast chicken, you know.
No, but your life is so interesting for us looking in on the outside, because you meet so many characters that we would love to know about. It was like when I worked in Las Vegas. I was a signature chef for a restaurant, and I used to love being with the VPs of the casinos because, and I'd be asking them, so what was the biggest take you got? And it's like all like say they got taken for $1 million, someone won €1 million.
Yeah.
And then they'd explain how they did it. And it's like, it was like, and like they're one step away from being dodge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say they were a dodge, except you were just like
being polite because someone's recording us. But yeah, it's like, but the stories they told you were unbelievable.
Yeah.
And if you wanted if you were having an issue with an employee, you just gave the name and they followed that employee the whole way through, the whole day.
Right.
And there was nowhere sacred in the casino.
Yeah.
So it was, but I love all that. So that's what you offer.
And you know, isn't it funny because, you know, there is this attitude of why are we so into crime, or, you know, are you glamorizing crime and all the rest of it? And I would always go, no, I'm not glamorizing it. We're just interested because they're interesting people that live in that world. They're not like accountants sitting at a computer 9 to 5, 5 days a week, who really have little to tell us about. You know, the dramas on TV aren't about people in boring jobs. They just have exciting lives.
Yeah.
Let's not agree, any of us, with the kind of the violent crime or any of that they do, but it is part and parcel of their world. And yeah, they just have fascinating things to tell you. And
yeah, I think you're always intrigued on how they get away with stuff like that.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like, and like there they have the millions of euros or whatever that, and you're gonna go, you know, we're working our asses off for pittance. And like they walk in and walk out with €1 million.
I was doing something today about the Northern Bank job, you know, 20 years ago, right? They walked into the Northern Bank and stole 26.5 million.
I think was that the biggest?
It's the biggest.
Biggest ever.
And like it is such a fascinating thing, but it's like, so it's generally, while nobody's ever been convicted of it, it's generally been described as a provo. The provost did it or whatever. And Bobby Story was named under privilege in the Houses of Commons. He has since died as the mastermind behind it. And yes, so there's people there who have done things over the years, and there's been the Troubles and all the people died. But you kind of have to stop yourself being sort of amazed and charmed by this heist and how they carried it off and how they did it.
Tomato ketchup or Ballymaloe relish?
Ballymaloe relish.
Ballymaloe.
Would you not eat ketchup?
I do eat ketchup, but I prefer Ballymaloe relish, and I put it on my eggs and my rasher sandwiches and things like that.
Delicious.
But I wouldn't put it on my tater crisp sandwich. My favourite pub is O'Connor's of Doolan.
Oh,
And
what a great pub.
what a great pub. But is it because we're on holidays, like you said about the France thing with the food? I love that part of Ireland, West Clare. I love Doolan, Fenor, all those places. But for some reason, O'Connor's, you go in there,
I
the
gave
music
Cashin
is playing.
her engagement ring in that pub.
Did you?
Yeah, because we were supposed to go to the islands, and the islands, the last ferry left.
Yeah.
And we ended up staying there, big session, and we stayed in B&B above it.
Lovely. Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
You go in for your, bowl of chowder or your mussels and chips, and the day could take you anywhere, and the music is great. And there's a really good mix, I think, of locals and tourists and all sorts of people in it. I'm not a mad fan of Chinese food. Now, I'm sure there's loads of really good Chinese food, but as a child, my father was a wine merchant in Dublin, and he got accounts with the Chinese restaurants when they started opening. And I was a small child, I suppose, and we used to be brought into these Chinese restaurants to meet his clients and to eat a meal and all this. And it was just so foreign. Like, I mean, there was nothing in this country like, and I used to be
Where's me
whispering.
chips?
Yeah, that's what literally, where's my sausages and chips? And he would be glaring at me across the table, smoke-filled room, saying, no, what you'll have is blah, blah, blah. Remember, actually, the most plain thing I'd say he could find for me was prawns and cashew nuts. And it was some sort of a stir-fry thing. So it would come and the tears would start rolling down my face and I'd eat them. And eventually got used to it anyway. And the prawn crackers were grand. But I still have a thing about Chinese food. I don't know, the smell of it, is there something in it that doesn't totally, it gives me a headache?
Yes, yeah. It depends which Chinese restaurant you go to.
I'm sure it totally does. I'm sure it absolutely does.
some
And I'm
brilliant
sure
ones, so.
I could revisit. But yeah, so hell is a bit of a strong word, but Chinese for me was the food that, wasn't my favourite. Wasn't my favourite.
Oh, did you ever eat a meal in prison?
No, I didn't, but I believe the food is excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They win awards all the time.
Yeah.
No
really
way.
good.
Did you? An award?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the chef's there.
wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Prison food is kind of famous because, of course, you have, the food in the prisons here, which is, as you say, award-winning and all the rest of it. But you have the famous, the last meal, don't you, on
The
death row.
That's mine. by the way.
And is that yours?
That's mine. That's
yeah.
what you
But you
put
see,
up
because
today.
you would be able to eat going to your death because nothing puts you off your food. I would instead be going, no, thank you. Don't have anything.
You wouldn't be, like if you go
But
to
you're like,
the electric chair.
you hardly give a fuck at that stage. Yeah, it's like, seriously.
But is there any joy left? I don't know. But, the last meal is kind of a famous thing, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know?
but if you have a last meal and then take a really long time to eat it,
Yeah.
you can't kill me till I'm finished
Yeah.
eating.